that and roll that over to more, because Ghostbusters was a comic book, I believe, originally. And let's roll that into just kind of a discussion. Now, today I started reading an announcement that Marvel is releasing some more animated series. They have Avengers Assemble, which is like their second Avengers series within the past 4 years, is getting renewed for a second season. You have an animated Guardians of the Galaxy going to come to, I believe it's Disney XD. Spider-Man, or Ultimate Spider-Man, they just got renewed for a third season. But not only that, just think about all of the comic book TV shows we have out there. I mean, just think about it. There's hundreds, it feels like. Just look at the DC side of things. On DC, you have the Arrow. You have the Flash coming out. You have Constantine. You have Gotham coming out. You have Young Justice for the cartoons. There's 100 Batman shows out there. Mm. And then on Marvel's side, I mean, you have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter. Netflix has 4 new series coming. I mean, is that all we're seeing nowadays?
Honestly, well, with the cartoons, it makes some, we've had the comic book based cartoons since for decades now. It's been a staple there for decades. 90s was early 90s was heavy with it, but they had it back in the 80s. They had it for a while. There was always some. I do remember though, mid 90s it got really heavy, especially for Marvel, was churning out anyone they could.
Well, you had the Fantastic Four, you had Hulk, you had the X-Men, you had all those kind of coming out.
That's
Iron
somewhat.
Man cartoon.
Yeah, and you still had DC ones too. There was the classic Batman, Superman ones.
Yeah.
I think those slowed down a little bit when anime started really hitting the scene, especially for the children's shows. So it took a little bit of a backseat for a bit, but it didn't go away, and then it just resurged a few years later. So that's been around for a while. But you're right, there has been a lot of the live action adding on to it now. And we definitely have seen maybe more of the cartoon ones at the same time, more of them just suddenly flourishing.
Well, I mean, we've also seen more comic book movies now than we ever have at any point. I mean, with the huge universes that DC and Marvel are building, it just seems like these franchises are getting huge. And I'm just thinking about reasons why this is happening. Number one,
I think the TV show is definitely because of the movies.
Well, yeah. But also, is it now becoming that this is the new reality TV? Because for a while there, every major network had 100 reality TV shows on. Number one, because they were cheap to produce. Number two, because everybody wanted to see them because people like that human drama. I'm thinking about now, number one, that you're seeing all these superhero TV shows because the source material has already been written by somebody else. You pretty much have a basic storyboard in the comics, to direct it and write it out. And is this just kind of, people like this right now, so we're going to flood the market with it?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's probably a lot of that. It's there's always trends everywhere, but in TV they go through trends. There was the sitcoms, the family sitcom trend in the late 80s, early 90s. The reality TV show trend, the game show trend that happened for a little while, and those things also cycle through a bit, right? So yeah, we're seeing the superhero one, which is, I guess this is the first superhero one, because there's been superhero TV shows before.
But always, there was an Incredible Hulk show, there was a Wonder Woman show, but I don't believe those ran concurrently.
Most of them were spread out. There was the Lois and Clark show that was, kind of a cheesy Superman one, but that went on for a while. But again, there wasn't much. Yeah, and there wasn't really much else on at the same time. There was one superhero show around at any given time, maybe two.
And now there's going to be 1 billion. So I just don't know if we're playing this genre out. I mean, I do like this comic material. I do like the source material that they're getting it from. But again, I mean, once you've seen one comic book superhero, now I know they are pretty varied, but you almost kind of see them all. That's why I don't like having this explosion all at once. I'd rather them stagger it out a little bit more. I mean, almost like they're doing movies.
There, I would disagree with you. I think that there's enough diversity among. If you pick the right comic book people and you present it right, there is enough diversity to have a big spread, so that it's not just I've seen this one, I've seen them all. That I think that there's enough of a spread. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. These are still superhero shows. You don't necessarily need 20 superhero shows at once. But I don't know. It kind of depends on how they go with it. And so far, this latest trend, we've had. I don't know.
We definitely have some quality. We do have some quality coming out of these. It's not like they're just slapping together some shows and throwing them out there. I do think like the Gotham show, that show looks so well thought out, and it just looks really cool to give you an origin story of all those villains. The Arrow show has been doing extremely well on TV. It's kind of because they've brought a softer edge to Arrow, but I mean, there's still plenty of the moments in there. Constantine looks like it's going to be really dark and fun, but
yeah, I think the other thing too, though, assisting this right now is TV stations now have the tech and budget and the special effects budget capabilities are. They're not cheap, but they're cheap enough for them to do for a TV series, right? That you couldn't do as easily before because special effects are expensive, and especially doing superhero special effects in a way that's believable and good, and especially for all kinds of different superheroes, is an expensive and difficult task. It's hard to do in a TV show.
Well, I mean, you think about The Matrix Reloaded when it had that crazy scene where he's fighting like 100-something Agent Smiths. That scene cost the studio apparently like $40 million to make. Yeah. And nowadays, that probably costs you like a fraction of that cost. You're right. Yeah. Technology has gotten better.
Still expensive, but maybe not as expensive to get a similar good enough quality to present these things in TV format.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Are there too many comic book TV shows out there, or are there not enough? I mean, do you want to see more on both fronts, the animated and the live-action front? So, hit us up. Let us know in comments down below. Of course, at WordsMyFace on Twitter, wordsmyface@gmail.com, and Google Plus and Facebook. Both ways to get a hold of us. So let us know what you think. Or are there any not made that you really want to see be made? Hey,
Do you think there needs to be a superhero show channel?
There's enough out there that they could. There certainly is enough out there that they could. So, but yeah, let's.